They say we should enjoy life to the fullest, that not doing so is wasting your life. But they also say that to be fully human is to stay awake to the suffering around us. So which is it? Do we soak in the sunshine while others stand in the storm? Or do we carry the weight of the world even when we can't do anything about it? Hi, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Nusi. Welcome to Wise Discrepancies, where we explore the seeming contradictions in wisdoms we're told and reflect on where each can serve us in our lives. Because sometimes wisdom isn't about finding one truth, but in learning how to hold two or a few. When I listen to older people reflect on their lives, I often hear the same regret. I wish I had enjoyed it more. Not worked more, not worried more, just enjoyed. The scent of a mango, a slow morning, time with people you love. Aristotle called this kind of fulfillment eudaimonia, a life of flourishing. Not reckless pleasure, but deep, meaningful well-being. And it makes sense to ask, isn't that what life is about? Isn't that worth attaining if we can attain it? It's a question that leads us inward, though, because joy doesn't come from chasing more, but from tuning into what's already here. Even Schopenhauer, often thought of as the philosopher of pessimism, wrote, "It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else." So if joy is within us, then perhaps experiencing it is also a way we honor being alive. And if joy doesn't depend on the world being fixed, then perhaps joy has little to do with living in a pain-free world. Denying ourselves joy because others suffer is like refusing to drink water because others are thirsty. It doesn't quench their thirst. It only leaves you parched too. And yet, how can I laugh without guilt when someone out there is starving or being abused or stranded in a war zone? If we're all connected, how can I feel whole when others are shattered? The Buddha taught that suffering is woven into the very fabric of life. To pretend it isn't there is not just unwise, it's untrue. But awareness doesn't mean drowning in despair. It means refusing to look away. I'm grateful for this sentence in M. Scott Peck's book, In the Road Less Traveled. He said, "Mental health is an ongoing commitment to reality at all costs." And as writer Flannery O'Connor once said, "The truth doesn't change according to our ability to stomach it." It's one thing to face the truth. It's another to let it shape how we move through the world. As Kant's philosophy suggests, compassion is not merely a feeling, but a duty we owe to others as rational beings. So if we can help, we should. And even when we can't help directly, our awareness dignifies the pain of others. It says, "I see you. I have not forgotten you." Philosopher Simone Weil reminds us, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. And I can't imagine that she meant for our attention to be reserved only for what's beautiful or easy to look at. So turning away is not the answer. Poet Rainer Maria Rilke urges us, let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. So how do we live? Do we choose joy and ignore suffering, or seek to understand the suffering around us? Maybe we don't have to choose. Maybe the real wisdom is in allowing both to exist. To let joy and sorrow be two wings of the same bird. To laugh without guilt and grieve without losing the light. To taste the sweetness of life while staying tender to its sorrow and pain. As Rumi said, sorrow prepares you for joy. And as Khalil Gibran wrote in The Prophet, the deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. In the teachings of Kabbalah, sorrow is said to enlarge the vessel of the soul, creating more space for light to enter. In other words, pain doesn't just break us, it opens us. For me, this is still hard. I see people in my own life around me suffering, and I wonder, is it wrong for me to feel happy? But I'm learning that when I let myself enjoy what's good, I'm more grounded and more able to show up for others. And when I suffer, I don't expect others to stop living their lives. It allows me to have perspective. Tara Brach, a spiritual teacher, calls us toward radical acceptance. She says, quote, clearly recognizing what is happening inside us and regarding what we see with an open, kind, and loving heart is what I call radical acceptance, unquote. Joy doesn't separate us from suffering in the world. It gives us the strength to face it with open eyes, sober. And as Ram Dass gently put it, we're all just walking each other home. We're all just walking each other home. It reminds me that no one has to have it all figured out. We're not meant to carry the full weight of the world or of anything alone. Just to walk with one another as best we can, to show up, to witness, to bring warmth when we can, where we can, and leave the rest. And that brings us back to trust, a thread that I'm finding weaves through all wisdom. Trust that joy doesn't require ignorance. Trust that being fully alive means letting the world touch you deeply and without shutting down. Trust that your joy is not a betrayal of others' pain, but perhaps a small rebellion against a world that would rather you go numb, and an honoring of life itself. If this helped you pause, reflect, or breathe a little deeper, subscribe to Wise Discrepancies, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to be as wise as we can, right? And as we know, wisdom isn't about being smart. It's about being deeply human in a complicated world. And here's a mantra to take with you. Let joy live in me, even as I stay awake to sorrow. Thanks for listening. Until next time.